If you are familiar with this program, you're familiar with our relationship with the great Troy Aikman. You're familiar with how frank he has been in his conversations with us on the record about what he often calls dysfunction as it relates to the way the Dallas Cowboys are run. Mike Fisher, reporting from Frisco, home of the Dallas Cowboys. Don't misinterpret this as Aikman disliking the Cowboys. That's not true. It'll never be true. Do interpret this as Troy Aikman being forever unhappy, dissatisfied, and critical of the way that Jerry Jones runs the Cowboys. And away we go again, with this time a more specific barb. Again, we've spoken with Aikman often, the former Dallas Cowboys quarterback, on the subject of dysfunction, the way Jerry runs the franchise, so much so that I barely need to put dysfunction in the headline anymore. It's you know that. It's common knowledge, certainly to people in Cowboys Nation who are involved in the Fish Report. And by the way, almost 50,000 strong now on the Fish Report. And thank you for subscribing to what we do. Straight dope, no bullsh, and here we go again. The fact that the word dysfunction comes up so often is why, by the way, Aikman and the Jones family aren't as close as Cowboy Nation probably wishes they were. But this week, the Hall of Fame quarterback put a sharper point on all of it. Maybe the sharpest point ever. Dysfunction, I'm not saying it's a vague term, but it's a fairly general term. It's pretty pointed, but general enough. He goes on the ticket this week, and in reflecting, of course, on the number 3 seed Cowboys falling 23-17 to the visiting 49ers in that wild card round of the playoffs, a loss that, while not completely unexpected by some, we're looking at you, Michael Irvin, who kind of saw this coming, still an upset, still a disappointment. You were the favorite. You were at home. Jerry Jones isn't the only person that thought that he and his people had built a championship caliber roster, and then down the toilet you go. And of course, the result of that game has created speculation about the job security of the head coach, Mike McCarthy. On the subject of the Cowboys' failure, the 3-time Cowboys Super Bowl winner and longtime top Fox analyst Aikman says, changing the coach is one thing, but you have to look at how things are run out there. I talk to people in the building, and from what I hear, there's a lot of dysfunction, okay? We've established that. Troy, we get it. I don't even argue with it. I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about. And if you watch this show, you know exactly what he's talking about too. But here's the sharper point. If you don't do anything in the postseason, meaning, you get to the playoffs, but you don't ever win. If you don't do anything in the postseason, then you're really, at the end of the day, no different than the Jacksonville Jaguars or the New York Jets, who didn't get in. Ouch. Now, I'm going to take you deeper into this, and this is the benefit and the privilege of being able to do what we've done for 32 years. Aikman knows exactly what he's saying. And while this is crisp analysis, it's also a sharply worded barb. If you want to get Jerry's attention, saying that Dallas is run in a dysfunctional way doesn't work, because it's been said too many times. And Jerry's got a great comeback for it, by the way. We were hosting with Sean Sharif and myself one morning on 105.3 The Fan when I asked him pointedly about Aikman's criticism that Jerry is the owner and the general manager. And Jerry, I'm telling you, he's still sharp on his feet, still quick on his feet. He goes, if Troy owned a team with his aspirations to maybe be a general manager of somebody else's team, if Troy owned his own team, wouldn't he be involved? Wouldn't he might even be his own general manager? He certainly would be a hands-on owner. And you know what, Jerry? You got us there. It was a really good retort by Jones, but not nearly as pointy as saying, Jerry, the Cowboys are really down deep as it relates to the only thing that matters, which isn't money and marketing, they're really the same as the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're really the same as the New York Jets. Now, there's people in Jacksonville that are going, hey, but then they look at the facts. They haven't won in Jacksonville in 14 years. And I don't mean win Super Bowls like we talk about here for the last quarter of a century. They don't win anything. They don't go to the playoffs. Their actual record, the Jaguars have made the playoffs only once the last 14 years. So while the Cowboys have not had enough playoff success, they have had successful regular seasons that get them to the playoffs, and then, not good enough. The Cowboys aren't really the Jets. The Jets haven't made the playoffs since 2010. But Aikman's point is kind of Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. And it's also kind of putting Jerry's own words back on him, because Jerry's the one that keeps saying Super Bowl or bust, when of course we know there is no bust. No such thing as a bust. But it's Super Bowl or else. Super Bowl is everything. Super Bowl is all that matters. And so Aikman is cleverly taking Jerry's own stated view and saying, okay then, I guess it must be nothing. If it's Super Bowl or nothing, and you guys aren't even getting close to a Super Bowl under your present dysfunctional system, then you're nothing. You're the Jaguars. You're the Jets. Now, subtly in this, of course, is Aikman's long-held belief that he could be a general manager of a team. And I don't disagree with that at all. I have told him to his face, you would be wise to intern first. You'd be wise to be an assistant general manager. This is something you've never done. And I think he'd be willing to do that if in the exact right circumstances. He would be giving up a fortune of television money, a fortune, because of Tony Romo's new contract. And now here comes the new arrangement with Amazon and all that. Aikman's getting ready to be paid more than $20 million a year, I bet, to do TV. To work hard, part-time, and make $20 million. And not have to get involved in the grind of running an NFL team. And by the way, when you're the general manager of an NFL team, almost always, you get fired. Aikman's been doing TV now has it been 20 years? He's never getting fired from that job. He's got lifetime job security, and he's already got lifetime financial security, of course, too. Only because his daughters are now grown and it might be time for a new challenge would he ever really think about this. And there's places he would not do it. There's certain cities and teams he would not be interested in. If you ever said, Troy, how would you like to be the assistant general manager of the Dallas Cowboys for 2 years, and after 2 years of serving an apprenticeship, you will be the general manager of the Cowboys, Aikman would say, yeah, I think Aikman would say yes, as long as he had assurances that he was really in charge of things. It's not going to happen. So that dream is only a dream. And maybe it's a dream of Troy, and maybe it's a dream of Cowboys fans, but that's not the Joneses' vision, fortunately or unfortunately, whatever you think of it. The Joneses' vision is that the Joneses run things. It is valid, and I can be, as you know, I can be an Aikman guy, which I am, and still be a Jerry guy, which I am, even though they might not be each other's guys right about now, especially because of comments like this. It's worth noting as part of this conversation that when Jerry keeps McCarthy dangling, as he is, Aikman reflects on that by saying, if there's going to be this much dysfunction, I'm not sure that it matters if you change the coach. Keep in mind that Aikman's very close to Jason Garrett. Some of his insights into how things work in this building are surely a result of that. But also, Aikman does his homework. He asks his questions, spends time in the building. He knows the Cowboys, media-wise, and more, as well as anybody. Dallas has not advanced past the divisional round since 1995, when Aikman led the Cowboys to their third Super Bowl title in 4 seasons. And Cowboy critics have the right to note that the one constant during this lengthy drought is the presence of Jerry Jones himself. No, the Cowboys aren't really the Jets. No, the Cowboys aren't really the Jaguars. But when Jones says Super Bowl or nothing, that amplifies Aikman's point and amplifies the anger in Cowboys Nation that you surely feel. Because if the position is really Super Bowl or nothing, then you're nothing, which does indeed make you the Jaguars, which does indeed make you the Jets. Fish out.